Hi everyone, Trishna here. So in this video, we're going to talk about whether or not you should share your intentions or your manifestation goals with other people before your intention has actually shown up in physical reality. So if you have something that you're trying to call into your life, something that you're putting an intention for, something that you're trying to manifest, should you talk about it with other people before it's actually been manifested or before it's actually been created? And the answer to this question is ultimately it really depends on you. It depends on your personal preferences, it depends on your personal belief systems, it depends on your personal experiences with the law of attraction. I personally do not, as a general rule, I don't really share whatever it is that I'm trying to create for myself with other people until it's already been manifested. And the reason for that is whenever we're doing any kind of manifestation work, there is always a gap of belief. We're always having to heal on, fears that we have, doubts that we have. There's always that gap that we're having to work through. So that's always going to be there. Anytime you're trying to strive for something, there's always going to be a stretch. Every manifestation is a way to grow yourself to achieve more than you ever thought possible. But it is a stretch and it is a journey. So when you start telling other people about your manifestation goals, especially if they're really big goals, that adds in another element of doubt, because not only do you have your own personal doubt that you need to work through, but now the other person may think that you're a fool or think that you're a big dreamer or think that you don't deserve the things that you want. You're suddenly adding somebody else's opinion, whether or not they express it to you. You can kind of tell, you can feel in their body language, they have an opinion on whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And now all of a sudden you have to this weird dynamic gets created where you are maybe aware of their self-doubt and it makes you doubt yourself even more. Or maybe they're not familiar with the law of attraction, or they are familiar with the law of attraction, but they've never tried it for themselves and they have an opinion about it without trying it for themselves, and they think that it doesn't work and it's for the fool. And so now you're in this weird dynamic of not only having to do with your doubt and their doubt, but also having to kind of prove that the law of attraction works or prove that you can actually manifest this big dream that seems so far out of reach for you and for them. So it adds this additional dynamic that I just don't think is really necessary. It's not something that I really like to do for myself. Now, if there is somebody that I really trust and I want to speak about it with them, then I will. But for the most part, as a general rule, I don't tend to share whatever it is that I'm trying to create, because it adds more work that I just don't think is really necessary. Their beliefs are fine to have, but that's something you want to keep separate. Only your beliefs matter. And maybe if you're really good at manifestation work, if they don't believe that you can achieve anything, it doesn't really affect you, or you can work through it really fast. And that's good. Then for you, maybe it doesn't really matter whether or not you share it with other people. But for me, I just feel like it adds that other layer of doubt that I don't really want to work on. And like I was saying, they can have their own opinion, but I don't want their opinion to affect my opinion and my view, because for my life, only my opinion matters. Only how I choose to see reality matters. How they choose to see it is not my problem. And so when I tell them, if I were to tell them my intentions and manifestations, I feel like I'm making their perception of whether or not I should get what I want suddenly my problem. So I don't like to create problems for myself. So for that reason, I tend to not share whatever it is that I'm trying to create until after it has been created and it's in my physical reality, in which case I don't mind sharing with people, and I like using that as examples to really motivate people that they can create the same things for themselves if they choose to use the law of attraction and believe in it. And I'm surrounded by a lot of people who do not believe in it, so again, like, my sharing my intentions is not a good idea, because there's a lot of people who don't believe in it because they've never tried it. And so I know better than to trust what they think, but their thoughts can impact me, and so I really avoid that. Now, the other reason why you may not want to share your intentions with other people until after they've been created is because of the our conscious brain, the subconscious brain, and then the collective consciousness. So every single one of us has a conscious brain and a subconscious brain. Our conscious brain is like, hey, I would like to have this in my reality. And then we do the healing work, we do the intention setting work to basically impress upon the subconscious what the conscious brain would like, to basically reprogram that subconscious to accept the conscious reality that we would like to have. And then for the subconscious to, once it's been programmed, to show our conscious brain the new reality that we are living in. So that's how our brain is kind of split in some ways. So the conscious and the subconscious. Now there's also the collective consciousness, or the universe, or the intelligent data system, or the divine, or God, or whatever term you want to use. And we are all connected to that. And so, anything that you consciously think is a part of that. Anything that you impress upon to your subconscious is also a part of that. And the subconscious is really connected to the collective consciousness. So, anything that you do think or put out is available to anybody else to pick up on. That's how, I guess, psychic readings work is, even if you haven't expressed a thought, or even before you know a thought, sometimes I know what you're going to think or what you're going to do, just because it's already in your subconscious, and that's connected to the collective consciousness, and I know how to access that. So whatever you want is already there, but the moment that you use your conscious words and you tell somebody else what you're trying to create, now their conscious brain has opinions about you and whether or not you can receive it, and that impresses, their thoughts impress and program their subconscious brain, which then feeds into that collective consciousness. So, there is this interconnectedness, and that's a good thing, because whenever we're trying to manifest something, a lot of times our manifestations come through connections with other people, meeting other people, opportunities for other people buying us things or gifting us things, or, we're always surrounded by people and we're always connected to them, and we're supposed to be. And, whenever we put an intention out there, it goes into that collective consciousness so that the right people can come to us. But so there is always that connection, but I feel like, when it works only at the subconscious level, like we're sending the thoughts out and it connects to other people on the subconscious level, they're kind of acting on their subconscious, and they're kind of acting with the divine will, the universe, the cosmos, and, so everything kind of happens in perfect order without this additional resistance in their mind. People are just kind of going off of their inspirations and ending up in the right place, and that may be you or you're kind of being led to the right people subconsciously. So that's all good and fine, but the moment that you add the conscious brain into it, the moment that you start telling people whatever it is that you want, suddenly their consciousness can interfere with that whole subconscious orchestration and dynamic that's going on, and it just kind of can make things a little more difficult sometimes. So I do think that the mind and your ability to create is significantly more powerful than this whole conscious, subconscious, collective consciousness dynamic that I'm talking about. But if you really want to put things more in your favor, personally, I like to keep whatever it is that I'm working on to myself until it's been created, just because I feel like it just makes all this work so much easier, and I want things to come to me as fast as possible. So that's just my personal approach and my reasons for why I don't share it. So, really it is up to you. If this resonates with you, then don't share yours and try that. If, you want to share it with other people, then, go ahead and try that, and you see what works for you, see what really helps you. And, there are some people that sometimes I really trust, and like I'm so excited about whatever I'm working on, and I do want to tell them, so I do. And then also, like, if I have friends who believe in the law of attraction, I'm a lot more likely to tell them than anybody else, just because they understand that belief is everything, and like it doesn't really, the limits that we see of our reality aren't real. Our reality is always based off of our perception, and if we perceive that we can have more than what we see in our physical realm, then we truly can have more. So they understand how that works, and I feel like they're rooting for me, and I'm definitely rooting for them, and I'm rooting for everybody. So, that would be maybe a case where I would share it, or just somebody who doesn't have a judgment either way. But yeah, that's just how I operate. So something for you to think about, something for you to try and experiment with. Law of attraction is definitely something that takes some experimentation. Like the process that I have that I know works, that I've listed out in my first 7 videos, that I highly recommend that you watch every one of those videos and follow every one of those steps. Like that all came through, years of experimentation and trying just using my thoughts to create, and trying just using my emotions to create, and trying just using spirit to create, and trying a combination of all of them, and truly seeing how powerful that can be and what really, really works, and all of that. So yeah, that's just my recommendation. But like I was saying, it is about experimentation, so see what works for you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope I earned your like and your subscribe. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and I will see you in my next video.